Let us talk about unconditional love. We have seen it glorified and spoken of very highly, but does it exist in real life? This is the question. We must look at what a condition really means. In another sense, it means that a state of being, but we don't mean in that sense. Condition is like an agreement. When you usually want something from someone in return, and you act for him then, for that benefit, right? So we are asking the question unconditional love. Loving someone, serving someone without asking anything in return, right? First of all, we will look at economic matters, right? Which is widely a day-to-day routine, that's why. In economic matters, when you are using products or services, you might see that in the beginning they ask you terms and conditions, and you must agree to that, right? And it's usually for profit making that we conduct those actions. So one can, I think, comfortably reach the conclusion that there is not much unconditional love in economic matters, if there is any in other matters, right? But for example, we take marriage again. When you are getting married, right, you have to sign a contract, and in that contract there are conditions related to loyalty and trust and friendship and all that, but also to properties, which is a money matter, right? So in case of a divorce and things like that, the wife is eligible for some properties without which marriage cannot happen, or you can mix and choose the conditions anyhow, but there are conditions in marriages. Okay, so in relationship there are conditions, in marriage there are conditions, but there is major and minor conditions involved in relationships. So if you break many of the minor conditions but the major one is still intact, then the relationship might continue. So the major one has more value, like that. Also, if there are more conditions in a relationship, that means it will stay and be stopped from breaking down, right? So example, there are 10 conditions. If 2 conditions break down, the 8 still remain, right? So the marriage can continue. So in a way, you can say when there are more conditions, the relationship will be well established, because the foundation is more, right? It has more foundation to stand on, right? So in a way, more condition can strengthen the state of relationship. Anyway, but why have we singled out love only, for example, right? We only say unconditional love. We don't say unconditional fear or anger or something like that. When it's obvious that all those emotions are based on some conditions, right? Anger arises because something happened, that's why. So love too must be under the same criteria of conditions, and not without conditions. So there are qualities of condition, I think, if you look at it. For example, fear has different quality of conditions. I'll give an example. Fear, if you fear someone, he will look at it as an opportunity to set conditions upon you, right? But those conditions of fear, they restrict your movement and freedom. They make your life a hell, which in turn makes you more angry towards the fear itself. So in a way, the conditions that fear establishes leads to backlash against the fear, which can lead to its dismantling. But the conditions of love are different. The conditions of love make you fall in love with the conditions, right? It looks towards the well-being of the ones in the relationship, and it considers their peace. So in turn, it makes it more strong. Love, the conditions of love makes love more strong. Anyway, yeah, these are the things I have to say about conditional and unconditional love. The question is, does it really exist? Because people claim it does. I have not seen it personally. Is it some sort of a fascination, some fiction, some fairy tale, some high standards that we can't actually achieve, and the trying of which putting effort is actually painful? That's all. Here is another thing I have to add to the topic. Maybe love has the capacity to implement conditions. Maybe that falls under its power. Because people don't give in to other people's conditions. They don't agree with it. To establish condition is a thing of power, and love has that power. You understand what I'm saying? So conditions fall under love, and it is not that conditions destroy the reputation or value of love, right? It's something that must be questioned and thought upon. Unconditional love, if it exists, how does one reach there? Does one reach there by first falling in conditional love and slowly undoing the conditionings, and then being left with the pure love which holds them together? See, another way of looking at it is like this. When two people get together, even though they have difference of opinions and different personalities, which means that they don't agree with each other, even then they decide to live with each other, that means some sort of pure love was guiding them, and that conditions just brought them together, established the thing which was outside the conditions, right? You understand what I'm saying? That is it.